Hi, my name is Ryan McCrady. I'm the City Manager for the City of Decatur. And as you know by now, the City of Decatur is preparing to talk about its property tax levy. This is a discussion that we have every year about this time. I want to take a few minutes and talk about what it might mean for you as a taxpayer and as a citizen of Decatur. Each year the City of Decatur has a list of obligations that we have before them, and we typically pay for those from property tax revenues. These obligations include things like pension contributions for the police department, the fire department, and regular city employees, funding for the library, funding for the municipal band, and also funding for some of our debt service obligations. Last year, all those obligations totaled about $12 million. It's been determined this year, as we look at the estimate for cost, that the total obligations are going to be about $12.68 million. So why do we have the increase from last year? Well, each year the state of Illinois has guidelines that we need to utilize to figure out how much money we contribute towards the pension plans for all of the city employees. This year, it's as expected, the amount that we need to contribute is going up in many of those categories. Last year, in an effort to keep property taxes low and the property tax rate low, the City Council made a choice to fund those $12 million in obligations with only $11 million in property tax revenue. The other $1 million that we needed to meet those obligations was funded through other revenue sources that we had here at the city. As you probably know, and you probably heard from us, that this has not been the best year for us financially. Therefore, those other revenue sources do not exist this year. So we do need to find other revenue sources to meet our $12.68 million in obligations. There's a couple of items I'd like to clear up as we go forward. First of all, you may have heard discussions about the city proposing a double-digit property tax increase. First of all, the amount that the city is looking to actually spend towards its obligations is going up about 5.6%, or about $680,000. We need to remember that the reason there's a large difference between the amount of money levied last year of $11 million compared to the amount proposed this year at $12.68 million is because we do not have that additional $1 million in other revenues available to us to help meet those obligations. Second, the numbers that I've talked about today are not a proposal. We simply talked about what we owe in obligations, and now we have to decide how best we're going to pay for that. This is where the really hard work starts coming to play for me as city manager and the city council. We always know our obligation level. The real decision is how we go about paying for that. And that's what these public meetings are going to start discussing. So no decision has been made yet that we're going to pay all those obligations for property tax. The City Council will have the flexibility to have those discussions and make that decision as we go through this process. Finally, I don't want you to think that we here at City Hall are not trying to find ways to be more efficient and save cost and save taxpayers money. You've probably heard that we have already cut 21 jobs out of city government in just the last 12 months. Some of those were cut during the budgeting process, and some of those were cut as a result of the voluntary severance plan reorganization. We know that most certainly we're probably going to have to cut another 30 to 50 jobs when we start preparing for next year's budget. That total of cutting 50 to 70 jobs means that we will reduce our workforce anywhere from 10 to 13% in the last 18 months. Also, when we did our budget that we're currently going through right now, we cut about $3 million out of that budget to help balance the budget without any kind of tax increase. We are looking and trying to estimate what the deficit might be in the budget for next fiscal year, which starts May 1st, 2010. Based on the estimates we have right now, we think that that deficit is projected to be somewhere around $3.9 million. Now, we still have 6 more months of this fiscal year left. That deficit may end up being more or less depending on other activities we do, whether we look at wage freezes, furloughs, or maybe if we start seeing the revenue stream turn around here in the city of Decatur. That revenue stream could turn around because of a turnaround in the overall economy of our city, our state, and our country. So one thing I can guarantee is that there are more cuts to come. And I know it's difficult to understand sometimes, but the property tax levy that is before us does not directly affect our general fund operating budget. And I hope now you have an opportunity to have a better understanding of that. I know that this is not the best time of year to start talking about taxes. I also know that it's not the best time in the financial condition of our city, state, or country to start talking about taxes. The problem is, by state law, this is the time of year, every year, that we start talking about our property tax rate. So hopefully I'll have an opportunity to be involved in that discussion. If you have questions about the process, you can always contact us at City Hall at 424-2700, or reach us through email by looking at the city website and getting a list of our email addresses. Thank you.